Namaste Bitia, myself JVN Neha Saini from Physiotherapy and Diagnostics, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Here I am going to tell you about the anatomy of the tibia. The tibia is found in the leg. It is one of the bone which is found in the leg. Leg is the region between the knee joint and the ankle joint. So there are two bones in the leg, that is tibia on the medial side and fibula on the lateral side. Tibia lies medially. It is longer than fibula. It is a weight bearing bone and is derived from the Latin word meaning flute. The tibia and the fibula, they are held together with the help of interosseous membrane, and this type of joint where interosseous membrane present is known as syndesmosis type of joint. The tibia is a long bone with having two ends, that is proximal upper end and the distal lower end. In between them there is a shaft. At the proximal end we can see different projections. Now the long tibia is divided into two parts, the proximal 1/3, middle 1/3 and lower 1/3. At the proximal end of the tibia we have two shelf-like projections. These are known as condyles. So here we can see these are the condyles, the expanded parts of a bone. So this is the lateral condyle which is lying on the lateral side, and another is the medial condyle lying medially. This is the superior view of the upper end of tibia. Here we can see the two condyles, lateral and the medial condyle, and the tibial plateau has two articular facets that articulates with the condyles of femur. So these superior surface of the condyle of tibia, they articulates with the condyle of femur over these points. This is the intercondylar area between the two condyles on the superior surface. So between the facet, this is a non-articular area that features the intercondylar eminence, also known as tibial spine. And the middle of this intercondylar area possesses a spine-like process which is known as tibial spine or intercondylar eminence. Now the attachments on the superior surface, these are the menisci. These are two crescent shaped intracapsular fibrocartilaginous structures which are attached on the condyles of tibia. Each meniscus has the anterior end. So this is the anterior end, this is posterior end, two borders, the outer border, the inner border which is concave, outer border is convex, and the two surfaces like superior surface, and below that we have the inferior surface. So these meniscus, these are fibrocartilaginous structure and they are for shock proofing of the knee joint. They are attached on the superior surface of the upper end of tibia. Now this is known as, the highlighted part is known as the tibial prominence, or we can say the tibial tuberosity. On the tibial tuberosity we have attachment of patellar ligament. Patellar ligament is a expanded part of the quadriceps femoris muscle. It is the expanded tendon, ligamentum patelli or patellar ligament, which is attached on the tibial tuberosity. Now on the lateral condyle of tibia, on its upper part we have a tubercle which is highlighted. This is known as Gerdy's tubercle. Gerdy's tubercle is a faceted, means having facet prominence on the anterior surface of the lateral condyle of tibia. It receives the attachment of iliotibial tract. Iliotibial tract is the modification of deep fascia of the lower limb which is below attached to the Gerdy's tubercle, and above it is attached on the iliac crest. So this is the iliotibial tract. It is receiving the insertion of two muscles, that is tensor fasciae lata muscle and the gluteus maximus. This is the iliotibial tract. It is a modified deep fascia of the thigh. Now on the posterior surface of tibia there is this line which is known as soleal line. This line gives attachment to the soleus muscle. Now the borders of the tibia, we have anterior border which is highlighted. This is the posterior border on the posterior side. This is the lateral border, also known as interosseous border on the lateral side, giving attachment to interosseous membrane. Now the surfaces of tibia, this is the medial surface between the anterior and the posterior border. There is no muscle attachment on this surface. This is the lateral surface, also known as extensor surface. This is the posterior surface, also known as flexor surface. Now the distal end of the tibia. At the distal end of tibia there is a most prominent structure which is known as medial malleolus, and this lateral surface of the medial malleolus is covered by the articular hyaline cartilage and articulates with the talus at the ankle joint. So the inferior surface of the tibia is smooth. It is covered with articular hyaline cartilage and articulates with the talus. On the lateral aspect of the distal end of tibia, this articulates with the fibula at the fibular notch. So this is the fibular notch for articulation with the fibula. Now the muscle attachments. First is the tibialis anterior. It originates from the lateral condyle of tibia, which is demarcated in the diagram, proximal 2/3 of the lateral surface of tibia, and the interosseous membrane between the tibia and the fibula. Then there is semimembranosus muscle, which originates from the superior lateral quadrant on the posterior surface of ischial tuberosity, and it is inserted on the posterior aspect of medial tibial condyle. So here we have the insertion of the semimembranosus muscle on the posterior surface of medial condyle of tibia. Then on the upper end of the medial surface of the tibia we have insertion of three muscles. These three muscles are sartorius on the anterior part, then between them is gracilis, and the posteriorly we have semitendinosus muscles. So these muscles forms pes anserinus. Pes anserinus is a bursa which is lying among these three muscles. The shape of that bursa resembles the goose feet, that is why it is known as pes anserinus. Then on the posterior surface of the triangular area above the soleal line, this triangular area gives attachment to the popliteus muscle. So in the diagram we can see the popliteus muscle which arises from the lateral condyle of femur. It crosses the groove on the lateral condyle of femur and it is inserting on the posterior surface of tibia just above the soleal line. Then this is the soleal line giving origin to the soleus muscle. It originates from the posterior aspect of the fibular head, upper 1/3 of the posterior surface of the fibular shaft, along the full length of the soleal line and the middle 1/3 of the medial border of the tibial shaft. This soleus muscle unites with the gastrocnemius aponeurosus to form Achilles tendon, which inserts on the middle 1/3 of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. So this is the tibialis posterior. It originates from the posterior aspect of the interosseous membrane, superior half of the posterior surface of the tibia, distal to the soleal line, and medial half of the posterior surface of fibula, which is showing in the image. And then after taking origin, it passes into the foot and inserts onto the tuberosity of the navicular bone. Navicular bone is a bone of your tarsal bones with extensions to other tarsal bones and metatarsals. It is attached on most of the muscles of the tarsals and the metatarsal except the talus. It inverts, adducts, supinates the and also plantar flexes the foot. Next muscle is on the posterior surface of tibia is the flexor digitorum longus. So it arises from the posterior surface of tibia distal to the popliteal ligament and splits into 4 slips, as we can see in the diagram, for lateral forefingers. It flexes the fingers, that is the toes, and plantar flexes the ankle. Next is the ligament, that is your posterior cruciate ligament. It is a ligament of the knee joint. It is attached on the posterior aspect of the intercondylar area of the tibia. Then on the medial condyle at its upper end, we have again the ligament of again a ligament attachment, that is the medial collateral ligament of the knee joint. Then on the anterior aspect of the intercondylar area, we have the attachment of anterior cruciate ligament, and on the posterior aspect of the intercondylar area, we have the attachment of posterior cruciate ligament. Then on the again on the intercondylar area, we have the attachment of posterior horn of medial meniscus, and in the anterior part we have anterior horn of medial meniscus. Then laterally, in the anterior part we have anterior horn of lateral meniscus, and behind that we have posterior horn of lateral meniscus. So these are the two menisci with their two ends. Now these are again the attachments on the intercondylar area. From anterior to posterior side, anterior cruciate ligament, then behind it anterior horn of medial meniscus, then we have lateral meniscus, the two ends of the lateral meniscus, then posterior cruciate ligament, and the posterior most structure is the posterior horn of medial meniscus. Then the applied. Applied is the transverse march or the stress fracture. The commonest site is the lower 1/3 of the shaft of tibia, and causes for this: long hikes without training will lead to fracture of the lower 1/3 of the shaft of tibia. Then diagonal fractures. The commonest site is the junction of upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of the shaft of tibia, cause torsion or twisting of the leg during skiing, and it is associated with the fracture of the fibula. Shortening of the limb due to overriding of the fractures ends. Then the questions related to this topic for your exams. Write short note on attachments of upper end of tibia. So in this we have to discuss about the upper end, like intercondylar area, the medial aspect of the medial condyle, lateral condyle, all. Then you have to draw the related diagram also. Next question is the fractures of the tibia. Then in this question you have to discuss about the fractures during skiing movement or during the high jumps. So what are the fractures which are related to the tibia? Then this is for an exercise. In this you have to draw the well labeled diagram of the attachments of the tibia on the posterior side as well as the intercondylar area of the tibia. So the intercondylar area is a schematic diagram. So you can use any color for demarcation of the structures which are attached over here. But for the muscle attachments that is on the left side of your image, this is the muscular attachments. So for this you have to use orange color for the origin and sky blue color for the insertion, and no color is filled in the bone. Remember this thing. For ligaments you use light green color. So this completes your topic, the anatomy of the tibia. Thank you.